here, brought to you by On Target, the latest forecast. And listen, we are tracking out some tropical rains that are setting up to head our way, and that is great news in regards to the ongoing drought conditions across portions of the Wobbles region and then extending westward into West Kentucky. So some beneficial rains looking to set up potentially late week into the first part of this weekend that could provide for some beneficial rainfall across the region. Before we get into that talk, though, let's talk about the short-term forecast, what's ahead through midweek. Then we're going to focus in on the remnants of Francine that will move into portions of the Ohio and Tennessee Valley region. Here's the latest look at temperatures. Kentucky Mesonet, temperature-wise, another cooler start out there. We're talking middle and upper 40s in some locations, like here in Warren County, up in Butler County, 45 degrees right now. And then points off to our south and southeast, a little milder, but still a pleasant start in some lower 50s. But either way you slice it, not a bad start to the morning. A little bit of patchy fog out there, something to keep in mind, especially for those fog-prone areas if you're heading out and about early this morning. Otherwise, don't expect many troubles out there as far as our weather is concerned. Satellite showing not a whole lot as far as cloud cover is concerned. And we're going to see more in the way of some sunshine as we work through this morning, this afternoon once again, but it's going to be that hazy sunshine similar to the past couple of days that we've had due to some smoke just above our heads in the atmosphere, about 15,000 feet up. Reed Dossey, House Skycam. This is facing northeast from Brownsville. There's some of that fog I was talking about. It's going to be patchy in spots, but certainly a possibility as you tackle on this Tuesday morning, along with that cooler start, so perhaps a light jacket, a handy item early on working through this morning, but by mid to late morning, forget the jacket. It's going to start to warm up, and temperatures, you'll feel the difference today as we climb into those middle 80s. Live radar as we scan the skies, not a whole lot going on. Again, we're on the drier side, but some changes heading our way as we work through midweek. Today's forecast, it's dry. We're talking temperatures climbing into those middle 80s. Tonight, we're in the low 50s to mid 50s in a lot of spots. Wednesday, likely our warmest day over the next 5 to 7 days. Temperatures going upper 80s to some low 90s. That's going to be possible Wednesday afternoon, but clouds start to increase as this tropical system begins to make landfall and then works inland closer to our region. That eventually leads to some rain chances that start to increase from the south heading towards the north, working through our Thursday afternoon and evening, and that will bring some rain chances our way here across the Wobbles region and really start to pick up Thursday night and as we look ahead to your Friday. So as far as the setup is concerned, let's get into this tropical talk, as we'll call it. High pressure right now winning out, okay? And that's keeping us nice and dry with a warm-up as we continue through the next 48 hours. We put this into motion. Also keep an eye on Francine down here, all right? We get into Wednesday morning. This is valid, 8 a.m. Look what happens. High pressure begins to weaken out. It's working towards the eastern coast, and that is going to allow this tropical system to move into the Louisiana coast. So it's really kind of opening the door, a gateway in a sense, for this storm to track more north and northeastward. That high pressure, in addition to a trough that's swinging in the Pacific Northwest, this is driving this system right into the heart of the Gulf. And that's why we're seeing those tropical storm warnings, those hurricane warnings in place now. This storm really expected to ramp up as far as strength is concerned over the next 24 hours before making landfall as we get into Wednesday. This system will continue inland while weakening. However, it's going to bring the threat for some showers and storms and some tropical rains that could produce some very heavy rainfall. There's going to be a lot of moisture to work with as far as this setup is concerned. And with that tropical moisture working in, that's going to bring potentially those beneficial rainfalls across south central and west Kentucky. So some good news there. On the flip side, we're going to have to keep an eye out for potentially some rotating storms. And we'll get to that here in just a little bit. Here's the latest forecast from the National Hurricane Center showing Francine strengthening to a hurricane. And it's going to make landfall later Wednesday, sometime around Wednesday afternoon-ish, and continue inland. And notice as we work through Friday, getting into the first part of the weekend, early Saturday morning, it's just west of our region, okay? The Missouri Boot Hill is where it's setting up. Latest forecast has the depression there. So what happens when this tropical system starts to work northward, it starts to slow down in movement and begins to slowly meander across the region before tracking east and southeastward. As that happens, that's going to help keep some rain and storm chances around for the forecast as we continue into and through the weekend. So this system going to bring some impacts and keep some rain chances around that will linger across the area through this weekend. Overall, a snapshot of the setup showing a ridge of high pressure just east across Virginia, North Carolina, and the upper levels of the atmosphere with a trough that's swinging in from the Pacific Northwest. Again, this is driving the direction of this system, so it's going to take the remnants of Francine right along the Mississippi River there, working northward, and that's going to set us up for some rounds of showers and storms. And some of those storms we got to keep an eye on, especially if we can manage to work with a little bit of storm fuel that could produce the possibility of some strong storms. And with a tropical system like this, always brings a lot of spin in the atmosphere. Okay, so we need to be on guard for potentially some rotating storms that will try to show up as we get into our Friday, especially Friday afternoon. That's the day we got to keep an eye on things and see how this forecast evolves. But still understand and note that some uncertainty there with this forecast. Exact track is key for rain amounts and potential for some strong storms. So something we got to keep a close eye on moving forward over the next couple of days or so. So let's loop you through this. This is the latest European model. I want to take you and walk you through the latest that it is showing, and it's overall pretty good model agreement on the track of this tropical system making landfall and then its track inland. So this is valid for, let's go Wednesday morning. Okay, this is 8 a.m. And notice Francine in the Gulf bearing down on the Louisiana coast. And starting to really strengthen, likely as a Category 1 hurricane, maybe a little stronger than that. Makes landfall projected sometime Wednesday afternoon, early evening. Continues inland, and look how it hugs the Mississippi River there. It is being steered just due north, almost. And it takes it to the Missouri Boot Hill. So by Thursday, late afternoon, early evening for the Wobbles region, some of those bands will start to show up, bringing some tropical rain, some storms. That's going to be a possibility. And it looks like the rain is going to stick around as we work through Thursday night. This is waking up Friday morning. We're going to have some breaks in there as well, but rounds of some showers and storms will be a possibility as this tropical system begins to weaken, but also just slowly meanders across the region. It's just sitting and spinning, keeping those rain chances around. By the time we get to Monday morning, a lot of the rain chances will start to dissipate across our region. So it looks like we could start to trend drier through late weekend, early next week. So something we're going to obviously keep an eye on as we continue through the next few days here. But it's an interesting setup. And again, it all boils down to the exact track of the tropical system, which again models pretty good agreement, taking along the Mississippi River, slowly meandering east-southeast, and then rain chances tapering off through late weekend, early next week. That's the going idea right now. We need to keep an eye on the potential for some rotating storms as we get into our Friday. A lot of that hinges on, can we get some energy to work with? Also, there's a lot of spin in the atmosphere. We could just have some rotating storms out there with little to no energy. That's what a tropical system can do and bring across our area, especially in a setup like this. Now, as far as potential rainfall amounts are concerned, and this is early, and understand that this will evolve and change up some. That's part of the forecast and forecasting when it comes to these events. But this is great news. If we can get away from the severe weather stuff, the possibility of a rotating storm, and that is on the low end right now. But we get away from all that, we can just pick up on some beneficial rains. This is great news, especially along I-65 and points west. We're talking potentially 1-3 inches of rain maybe a little more, isolated higher amounts. And then the further west you go, the higher those totals get. Good news for the drought-stricken areas. Again, West Kentucky needs some rainfall. All right, see if my voice can continue to hold up for us, battling those fall allergies. All right. All right. Here's a look at your 5-day forecast brought to you by Ohio Valley Insurance. Today, lovely. Plenty of sunshine, hazy sunshine expected. Temperatures warmer. We'll go middle 80s for highs. A little milder I should say tonight, waking up tomorrow morning with temperatures in the 50s. We get into Wednesday, that's going to be a hot day. We're touching 90 again, more sunshine, but clouds, high clouds will start to increase through the afternoon hours, and clouds will thicken up through the evening and overnight, and will eventually go mostly cloudy. That leads us to our chance for some rain, and it really starts to ramp up later Thursday afternoon, Thursday night, and those chances look to stick around as we work through the first part of the weekend before we start to potentially taper those down some Sunday, getting into early next week. On the flip side, with the cloud cover and the rain chances, temperatures taking a hit. So we're talking highs below normal, as we'll see temperatures hanging tough in the 70s, upper 70s to around 80 degrees, as our rain chances start to ramp up late week and as we work into the first part of the weekend. All right, folks, that'll do it for this morning's forecast brought to you by On Target. Thanks for stopping by and tuning in. We'll be back here tomorrow morning with another update focusing in on that late week forecast, the potential for some stronger storms if that shows up, and the latest on our potential rain amounts. We'll have all that and more coming up with another update tomorrow morning. Thanks for stopping by, folks. We'll see you then.